Hey, welcome back, students. In this video, I want to go ahead and focus on tips for writing formulas for compounds. What I want to do is focus on giving you some general steps that you can use to actually get to that formula, and there's actually about 5 of them that we're going to summarize for you. It's pretty easy to do. So let me share that with you first, and then we'll go ahead and do a couple of examples. You want to go ahead and use this when you're doing some of the homework assignments here in class. But if you have any questions, as always, come and see me during tutorials and we'll take care of it from there. Okay, so here is the first step that you want to do. The very first thing you want to do when you're trying to get some of these formulas is you want to go ahead and quickly identify the positive and the negative side of the compound. And what I mean by this is you essentially want to go and determine which part is the cation and which is the anion. That's the very first thing you want to do. The second thing you want to do is then you want to go ahead and write down the symbol for the cation. Okay. Now, cations are typically going to just be monatomic, so that should be fairly easy. And there's a couple of exceptions like the hydronium and the ammonium ions, but we'll talk about those in a later video. For right now, let's focus on step 3. And the third step is to go ahead and write the symbol for the anion. Now, here's where you're going to have a little bit of a double procedure. If the particular anion is monatomic, what you're going to do here is simply just write the symbol. It's pretty straightforward because there's only one atom. However, if the anion is polyatomic, so if it's polyatomic, the next thing you want to go ahead and do is go ahead and write the full formula for that particular polyatomic anion. Right? The fourth step in the process is you want to go ahead and check if the ion parts are balanced. And what we mean by balanced is we're balanced by charge. So what you've got to figure out is that the total charge for the cation equals the total charge for the anion. All right, so figuring out the charge for each of the parts and making sure they're balanced, you have to make sure that you do something really important for this particular step. Oops. And so that particular step is the following. You want to make sure that if it is not balanced, so if not balanced, you do several things. You want to go ahead and add copies of the part that is not bringing the whole charge of the compound to 0. And that means that you're going to have to add copies of the cation to zero out the total charge, or you're going to add copies of the anion to zero out the total charge. Because at the very end, the total charge of the cation plus the total charge of the anion should equal 0. And then the last step in this whole process here is once you've actually added the copies that you needed, if it's required, because it might not always be, you want to total those copies up, and that's going to be the subscript in indicating the number of atoms that you've actually put for the cation, or the number of copies of the anion that you're going to put. And at that point, all you're going to do is go ahead and write down the total formula. And you're done. Okay? So this is just a quick little 5 steps for you to follow. Go ahead and use that. And if any questions, I'll go ahead and address them in the next videos. If you haven't already done so, go ahead and subscribe. Keep learning, keep watching, and we'll see you soon.